Hello friends, I'm Saket Bansal. So today we are going to talk about a sense of Agile. It would be, and here is the agenda for the session. So we will talk about what is Agile, like why we need Agile, what are the Agile values and Agile manifesto, how Agile is different from the traditional method of doing things, and some of the myths which I find when I interact with people during trainings, the misconception in my perspective about Agile. So before we start, let us know the audience group. Like I need to know where do you stand in your Agile journey. In order to identify that, I have a small quick poll for you. So please vote for a poll and tell me that where do you stand in your Agile journey. Okay, so we have majority of population who is using Agile. Now that's good, but so since you have been using it, you will find many principles, many discussion related to today's session, something like a reminder that why do you practice something or going back to the basics. The people who are curious or reading about it will find a good starting point. So this session will talk about, since we are talking about fundamentals, it will help the users in refreshing the basics, and to others like the one who are curious and reading about it, it will help you to start up the things. Now we start with the session that why do we need Agile, and I always refer this particular quote from Charles Darwin, where he says that in the struggle of survival, the fittest win out at the expense of their rivals because they succeed in adapting themselves best to their environment. In Agile, our main focus is towards adaptation. Why do we need Agile? Why the companies are moving towards agility? Because in our current development methodology frameworks, most of us are facing a problem where the projects are over budget, and we are finding that we are unable to deliver any project under the baseline timelines. And there is another statistics which talks about that whatever we develop never get used. More than 60% of the features which we develop are either not used or rarely used. And with the change of time, product life cycles are getting shorter. Do you think, like in your opinion, what are the key drivers for the movement towards agility? So here I have another poll where I have listed a few of the drivers which I find people are looking at when they are thinking about agility. You can select multiple options. So what are, in your opinion, what are the drivers? Why the companies are moving towards agility? So select the options which you feel are the one which are playing the role. Okay, all of the above. Okay, and in between we will take Q&A breaks. So there will be a Q&A break when I will take all the questions. So whenever you get a question, just type it in your question box and we will take them in a Q&A break. So majority of you are thinking that time to market is a primary driver, and then adaptive planning is coming, or waste elimination is coming as the second point, and adaptable product or adaptive product is coming as the another driver. Making team responsible for outcome, many of you think are not that a big driver, but yes, it looks as a key driver to some of the attendees. Now, in my opinion, like the way I have interacted with people, I find that all these options are driving people towards agility. Now, time to market is becoming more and more important now. Since the product life cycle is becoming shorter, the lean startup, the lean philosophy is all around. People are talking about that we need to keep our batch size small so we can deliver the product, the minimum viable product, fast to the market. And customer collaboration is also coming as a driver, because no more it is your work and my specification. Since the market is so dynamic, the vendor and the customer has to work together so that they can serve their end user well. Waste reduction, since because of the economic challenges, everybody is focusing towards value. Organizations are becoming lean, and agile adaptation is also a movement towards reducing or identifying values and eliminating waste. Now, the make project team responsible for the outcome, I find that this is also a reason, because a lot of time I find organizations restructuring themselves so that they can make the development group responsible for the outcome, not to the output. So it's not like that you have done with your development, you have developed the website, you have developed the software, but it is of no use until unless it is not making the desired profit or desired market share. So there is a movement. I find that people are restructuring themselves and trying to make the people who are developing the front team more and more responsible for the end result, the outcomes, rather than just producing what has been told in the beginning of, as a specification. Things are changing, so people want something which can be changed fast. So adaptive planning is one of the reasons. And product, since especially in the software industry, it's very difficult to anticipate what the customer needs. So the companies are looking for an option where they can have an adaptive product, where it could be customized, it could be configured, it could be extended at the later stage, rather than building everything upfront. Now, when we talk about agile, many people relate agile with something called Scrum. So they think that Scrum means agile. I find many people who are just curious or who are reading about agile takes these two things synonymous. Now, what is agile? If you want to just define what is agile, now the agile is a collection of values. Now, these values are collected in a document or in a manifesto which is called Agile Manifesto. Now, there has been a thrust for finding something which is lightweight. It is not something new. Even from 1960s, the industry is trying to find something which helps people to deliver iteratively and incrementally. So our thrust for finding a lightweight methodology is not new. And in 2001, before 2001, there were various lightweight methodology. In 2001, 17 lightweight methodologies met and agreed to a value statement, which formed the Agile Manifesto. And Agile Manifesto lists the values which the signatory of Agile Manifestos believe in. It talks about, there are 4 value statements. It talks about individual and interaction over process and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan. Now, a lot of time when we read these 4 statements, we just read these 4, but we also should put a focus to a 5th statement, which says that there is a value in the item on the right, but we value the item on the left more. Which means that the Agile Manifesto is not saying that process and tools are useless, but it is saying that we value the individual and interaction more than process and tools. Now, a lot of time there is a misconception where people think that the item on the right sides are useless or Agile is against them. It is not the case. Now, what is individual and interaction? In Agile, there is a focus towards creating a team which is self-managed. The role of a manager should be played by the team itself. Now, traditionally, we have been trying to build a system where we can have good templates, good checklist, more number of checkpoints, and we tend to believe that if we put any new guy, any monkey in the process, if he follow all these checklists, if he follow all the templates, he can produce the output. And that is where Agile differs. Agile says that, okay, you may have a process to facilitate or speed up your development, but the individuals who are executing that particular process are very important. You should not undermine the importance of those individuals. So how it is different? Traditionally, we may think that if we have a good template of a requirement document, if we specify what all has to be written in that particular sections, then the requirement analyst will write a very great document and developer will just read it and start developing it. That is our traditional wisdom. Agile says that whatever you write, but don't undermine the interaction between the person who is writing the requirement and the person who is developing it. The second value, working software over comprehensive documentation. Now, traditionally, we have been trying to make a good looking tools, mock-ups, click-throughs in a way that they can give a feel of a real system before the real system exists. We have been experimenting with various elaborative way of documenting things so people, the end user, can get a feeling of the complete system before the system can get developed. And we expect that person should be able to give a feedback on those documents, so while we start developing, so when we get into a design phase, we can do everything upfront. Now, the recommendation from Agile is that rather than spending too much time in making these comprehensive documentation, focus on working software. Let the working software become the tool of communication. Rather than thinking complete requirement and making a mock-up of the complete requirement, pick some of the requirements which are essential, which are of higher priority, develop them and use them. Use the software, use the working product as a measurement, as a object of communication, as a measurement of progress. Do not give yourself credit of say 20% complete or 30% complete just based on comprehensive documentation. So if you say that my requirement is baseline, it means nothing. Agile recommends that once you have a working part of software, that working part represents the progress. Now, traditionally, we have been measuring the progress on the basis of various milestones, which were phased-wise milestones, which were not producing anything working. And the problem with that particular approach is that we end up having on-time delivery, on-time milestone we end up meeting all milestones on time till the time the project is 80% complete. But after that, the 20% takes significant amount of time, because in that 20%, we end up with lot of modifications, customizations in the working software, because that time the customers, the stakeholders are only looking towards working software. The third value, customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Now, this particular value focuses on, especially when the people are working in a service organization, they think that customer has given them a requirement and their goal is just to meet that particular requirement and make the customer happy. Now, in Agile approach, it is recommended that customer and you, the service provider vendor, you both are one team and both of you are teaming together to serve the end user. So the goal of this development team is not to serve just the customer representative who is giving you a requirement. Their approach is whatever contractual understanding you have between a customer and vendor, but it should be designed in such a way which facilitates the interaction, which facilitates the changes in order to achieve the higher objective, which is the end product, the end outcome, serving the end user, not serving the intermediaries. So that is the goal, where Agile recommends that customers should become part of the development process. He should not take it that I just have to write the specs and throw it to the development team or a development vendor and he has to take care of rest of the development. The final value, responding to change over following a plan. Now, in project management, I have been teaching people that change is something which is constant. Everything changes, but change will always come. And this we have been knowing since the time we have started teaching or learning about project management. There will be always change. Now, but Agile emphasizes that since there will be always changes, make your development process which is adaptive, conductive to change. Make your plans in such a way where we expect that there would be changes. Don't make a plan for complete 1 year because we know there will be changes after 3 months. So better to follow a rolling wave planning, only elaborate the plans which are in the task which are in a near-term futures, which has to be executed in near-term futures, rather than elaborating the complete 1 year schedule, because that will just generate waste because you end up changing them frequently. So Agile says that rather than making a plan upfront, so we design a plan. Traditionally, we think that initially we will do a planning for the complete project. So if we have a 1 year duration project, we think that we have to make a plan and then we will follow it. Agile says that rather than making a plan and following it, always make a plan and think of or keep an option of adapting that plan as you learn more. So you should follow a rolling wave approach of a planning or a top-down approach of a planning, where you start with a top vision and then you elaborate it as you get into it. Now this is our Q&A point, and you can write your questions. I think I already have few, and I am also putting one poll. So by the time I am answering the questions, you can cast your vote about that which of the following practice is not recommended in Agile. So it will just a small poll, and let me take the questions. Okay, so related to PDUs, yes, this particular training will get one PDU. Okay, let's go into, okay, so Amit is our like frequent attendee. He says that Agilist thinks that code is a living document. Yes, you can think, you can use as a code as a media of communication, as a media of design, and especially the extreme programming recommends that code should be used as the process of documentation. But again, the Agile Manifesto does not say that we just need to use code. It all depends upon the type of environment you are in. So if we will talk about documentation later, but yes, we should have agile documentation which is bare minimum. Now why bare minimum? How it depends? There are various factors. There are compliance regulatories, there is an organization culture. So many things comes into the place. But yes, the extreme programming view is that we should use code as a communication source. So again, like there is also, I have a slide on a myth where I am trying to explain that there is a myth. People think that Agile says no to documentation. So we will take that at that particular time. If requirements constantly change, how do I manage the budget? Actually, requirements are changing in our traditional process also. And we are generating change requests for that. And then we have a change management process and etc. etc. Now, again, it depends upon the type of project we are in. The goal is that the recommendation from Agile is that traditionally, if you have a 12-month project, don't deliver the project which is visualized in a month 1. Deliver a project which is needed at the month 12. Now, yes, change does involve cost, and here again one myth I would be talking about, that does Agile means that I can change my mind anytime? Yes and no, because when you talk about change, it has to be done with responsibility. Now, as an Agile team, you say that the team make it transparent. So whenever you change something, the Agile framework, especially if you are using Scrum and if you are maintaining a release burn down chart, it makes it clear to the rest of the stakeholders that how the new addition of the scope is going to impact the timelines. The second thing is that in Agile, we don't do an upfront design and development. So the features which we have not detailed out, and since we are progressively elaborating, if after analyzing the requirement for 1 month, if we find that something has to be changed for the features which we have not yet started, for that particular cases, it does not involve the extra overhead of cost. So since we are doing it elaboratively, since we are elaborating the requirement at a last responsible moment. We are not elaborating the requirement upfront. We are elaborating it as we get more and more details about it. So that way it does helps in managing budget. Now, do we manage budget in Agile? Yes. If you follow, especially if it again depends upon the environment you are dealing in. If you are in-house project, you may not even care about budget. But in general, the release planning activity, which is one of the practice detailed in Agile, is all about forecasting the budget for a release duration and managing it during the release duration. Okay, so there is another question. What is the lag between requirement freezing and development cycle? Okay, say in Agile, we do not have a requirement freezing. Okay, now how does it work? It may sound weird, like, okay, if you are not freezing the requirement, then how can we develop it? Think it like this, that you divide the complete work, your requirement into a very small slices. So what do? You don't make the big packet. You reduces the batch size. Rather than developing the complete requirement, you create small slices of your requirement. And then you discuss a one slice. In a way you can think of that we have an idea, an agreement on one slice, and you develop it. Once you develop that particular slice, you show it to your stakeholders, and once they find as per their expectation, you mark it done and you move forward. So in a way you freeze the running software. You says that, okay, this is a functionality which has been accepted, now we'll move forward. Till the time functionality is not accepted, it is not freezed, it is negotiable. So that is if you use a artifact term, so we think of a user stories, and user stories are always negotiable till the time they are accepted as a done. So different way of finishing the work, but freezing is kind of thing which does not exist. So freezing only happens when we have a running software. So running software only represent that this is my requirement, this is how it should work. So let me see the poll. Let me share it. Some of you voted that Agile, and that is where the confusion for related to budget and all was also coming. Now in Agile, we do make a top level release plan. The option 4 is clear that we do not talk about making a very elaborative, comprehensive documentation and then start working on it. We start with a small slice, we discuss it, we develop it, we demonstrate it, and then we move forward. In a term, you can also say is in acceptance-driven development, where you have discuss, develop, discuss, distill, where you list the discussions, you develop it and demo it. So we do not focus on making a comprehensive documentation, but we do have a top-level release plan. The Agile team starts their working with a top-level release plan, and then they elaborate it per iteration. Now, Agile versus traditional, a very controversial subject, and we have touched some part of it. And my personal belief is that methodologies are just a tool. They give a framework to the individuals, but as Agile Manifesto says, that individual and interaction over process and tools, same is also applicable for methodologies. So irrespective of methodologies, if you have individuals, a good, dedicated, motivated, with a clear vision, if you have those individuals and they interact with each other, they collaborate with each other, irrespective of whatever framework they use, they always deliver. So yes, there are methodologies which has a role to play in making things conductive or receptive, and there is a use case for all the methodologies, but individuals are important. So with this, we compare the Agile versus traditional, but I have no intention to prove that Agile is the only solution for all your problem. It's all about individuals. So my take always remains that individuals are important. Now, irrespective of methodology you use, many things are going to remain same. You still have a vision. You start your project with a broad vision. You cannot just start developing something without knowing where you want to go. For example, if I want to launch a job site which can compete with monster.com, I do have a vision, But I don't know it will be working out of Facebook or it will be working out of Google Plus in order to take a lead. But I do have a vision that I want a job site. Project will always have a life cycle. It will move through various stages, whatever methodology you use, and there will always be a requirement. We are developing something for some requirement, and there will always be a schedule. There are a lot of stakeholders who only understand one language. When are we getting this software delivered, or when are we expecting this software hitting the market? So there will always be a time, there will be always a scheduled time which a team need to communicate to the stakeholders. There will be always individuals and they would be communicating with each other. So irrespective of methodologies, these things remains the same because it is all about project. Project is doing something first time, interacting with stakeholders, identifying the requirements, giving the projection for time and cost, and this remains the same irrespective of methodology we use. Now, difference, and this somehow we have also touched in our previous discussion. Rather than doing serially, we do it in a onion. So we do a progressive elaboration. We say that we have a roadmap which is defining the good amount of targets or features, and then we are elaborating them as we get deep into our project. So we start with a roadmap. That roadmap is usually for the long duration, say 2 to 5 years, that I want to take this job site at this level in 5 years. So that's my roadmap. After making that roadmap, or after identifying a broad roadmap, I focus on what is my first release. If I am launching this particular website first time, my major focus for first release would be that what is my minimum viable product? When can I produce that minimum viable product and hit to the market? And that will define my release 1. Then I get into, okay, so this is my release 1, which may take 6-7 months. And inside this release, I would be working in iterations. So it is like progressively elaborating. The framework itself says that you need to do a rolling wave planning. You have to first just identify the release goals, break the release, identify the release targets, and then you need to focus on your iteration. So iteration is a fixed duration, usually a fixed duration in most of the agile methodologies, a fixed duration and time frame where the agile team works and deliver some working software to the stakeholders. Now, this delivery to the stakeholder does not mean that this delivery will also go to the end customer. Since you are making this website first time, you cannot launch the product till the time it is done with the minimum viable features. So yes, but we manage the project, we elaborate the work iteration by iteration, and inside that iteration we do a day level planning. So this is how the agile is different from our serial development. The serial development is usually also looked like as a relay race approach, where we have a one runner running and then passing a baton to the next person, and this is how the things are moving. Rather than making a relay race approach, we take a rugby approach where team remains as a one unit. They visualize the complete the top level plan, and then they elaborate it as they get deeper into the project. Now, traditionally, many of you might have been working as a project manager, and I am like project manager by heart. And we have been told, we have been measured on the basis of constraints, like are you on time, are you delivering the complete scope, or are you meeting your cost targets. Now, constraints are still important. It does not mean that once you are in agile, the constraints are irrelevant. They are important. But agile says that we can have a higher tolerance for constraints, but we put more and more focus to the value. So what value you want to deliver as a product, that is first focus. If you can deliver that value with less amount of scope, you do that. You are welcome to do that, because my goal is not to have 1,000 features in my future job site which I am launching against monster.com, but my goal is to make more money than monster.com. And if I can make more money soon without having those 1,000 features, it's good. That is what I should do. So the approach is, traditionally we have been told that you forget about what customer getting out of it, but whatever the scope you have got, your project should focus on delivering that particular scope. Now, in Agile, we focus on value, and then there is another dimension which we add in Agile framework is intrinsic quality. Now, since our software, our product should be adaptive in nature, we should be focusing on making a clean or internally strong product. So the product should be internally of a good quality so it can be changed, enhanced at a later stage. So a lot of time, like I find a question that if we are not visualizing the design and development at the initial stage, how will we handle it at a later stage? You may think like that. Now, the answer to it is that you need to focus on intrinsic quality, but in reality, lot of Agile practicing team misses this particular part. And if you do not focus on intrinsic quality or technical excellence, your future agility would be in danger. So it is always emphasized in Agile principles, in Agile values, that we should focus on intrinsic quality, and the technical excellence is the only thing which can ensure the future adaptability. Few difference, leading over managing. So from the Agile leaders, from the Agile managers, it is expected that they should lead rather than managing. It is expected that they delegate the management role to the team. They make the team self-managing. What does it mean? They make the team identifying their own ground rules. They make the team which also enforces those ground rules. So allocation of tasks, identification of detailed tasks, these all work should be done by the team rather than by the leader. Now, leader should give them a direction. He should set the goals. He should help team to identify the values and focuses on the principles. Like technical excellence is our value. We should focus on technical excellence. Now, how to achieve technical excellence? The team should identify it. So he focuses on setting the goal, managing the principles of Agile, and then creating a team which can deliver. Now, I am not saying that traditional managers cannot play this thing. The goal of this particular section is that lot of time we find in a traditional management, we focus on our scientific management approach, where we focuses on that giving the detailed task list to the individuals and then monitoring, are you done with this particular thing or not? Here it is expected that we create a team which delivers, and your goal as a manager, as a leader, your responsibility is to create the team which can win, rather than playing the match and winning it for the team. Second difference, adaptation over following the plans. Now, confirmation. As I said in the discussion related to Agile values, in Agile, we do not focus too much on baselining the plan and measuring the progress against it. So what is the difference? Still we need to have a plan, still we need to have a goal, and still we need to work towards achievement of those goals. Now the difference is that when we talk of the Agile approach of making a plans, if something goes wrong, for example, we planned to do 100 features in a first month, and we could only do 70. Now, traditionally, our first assumption will come that planning was done with a very good visibility, and there is a problem in execution. So we have to take corrective and preventive actions, because traditionally we think that planning is usually done with a very great detailed understanding of the requirement. Now, the Agile approach of handling this problem is, look at your plan. You may need to adapt it. You may need to adapt it. Mainly, your first suspect should go towards plan. Have you planned it right? If you have planned it right, then only look for an execution problem. Else, adapt your plan. Make a plans which are rolling wave, where you do not, which helps the team to modify it and making it visible to all of the stakeholders. As we discussed about freezing the scope, Agile talks about flexible scope. So flexible scope does not mean that I keep changing a color of a website 100 times in a day, or this is the only work I do, that I keep changing the theme and always the theme is the only thing which I keep discussing. it does need a responsible and understanding of the business need, but as an agile team, they are flexible to change the scope, and they have a tools which demonstrates, like a release burn down chart, which demonstrates the impact of those change on the timelines. And if the stakeholders are okay with it, it says move ahead. And the other approach, agile, other recommendation which comes from the agile, that cost of the change should be reduced, because we use adaptive product definition. We focuses on intrinsic quality, which should help us in reducing the cost of change. So now we can take Q&As, and I think I have a final poll for you. And this poll is especially for those who are not using or not using agile in a declared way. So they are working in their traditional way. They think that they are working in a traditional way. And my question to them is that, do you think that you are finding some of the agile values are getting implemented even in your traditional ways? And by that time you poll, please raise your questions so I can look at them. Okay, so I close the poll and share it. So you will see that even I do believe that many of our project managers are already following agile values and principles, even if they don't realize that these are the principles which are also recommended by agile, because agile is not inventing something new. It is all about individuals, interactions, involving people and delivering software and focusing on end products. It is nothing like giving a very magical solutions, and many of us are already implementing majority of these values, maybe few less, few more. Now there is a question that, is agile help in reducing the project cost? Okay, so first question which I am taking is that is agile help in reducing the project cost? So what is your view? A lot of time we think that if by using an agile we can deliver fast and we can reduce cost. Do you agree with it? You can just type yes and no. See, when we talk about iterative or iterating development, it is always a planned rework. Since you are developing things in slice, you would be developing it with more cost. You can do it serially, maybe in less cost, because it works like a factory. You have a specification, you work on it, and you deliver the maximum, you achieve the maximum cost efficiency. Now the problem is, by achieving that cost efficiency, you deliver something which is of no use, or which requires a good amount of rework at a later stage. So if your requirements are not that clear crystal accepted by everyone, following a serial methodology end up becoming a costlier affair at a later stage. So if you are putting an agile methodology for that particular problem, you can definitely develop it in a less cost. Now, agile may not be the iterative way. So agile is again a values and principles. So the iterative way, if I say specifically, the iterative way of development may not be able to give you a complete scope in less time and in less cost, but it can deliver value faster. It can deliver value in less cost. So if you are only focusing towards value, yes, the agile way of developing, the iterative way of developing, the developing and showing the working software frequently to the end users does help us in reducing the time and delivering value faster. Okay, next question. Requirement analysis design in agile way still needs to be done in iterations, right? Say, Vijay, if you focus on Scrum, you are right. If you focus on XP, you are right. But agile is just values and principles. If you talk about lean Kanban, may not, because their iteration does not exist. So in general, for general understanding, we says that yes, most of the agile methodologies focuses on delivering things in iterations, and in a one iteration we do the slice of a requirement, slice of analysis, slice of a designing, and slice of a development, and we do everything at more or less simultaneously. So we do everything all the days, and at the end we deliver the value. At the end of iteration we deliver the working software, a potentially shippable software. Now myths, and these are all controversial myths. So I says that a lot of time we think that agile development is undisciplined, like people are doing something without thinking about that what the goal is. But yes, it is not like that. Agile development has good amount of discipline inbuilt in it. We have, especially the frameworks which we use, we focus on good amount of ceremonies, and each ceremony has a good amount of defined rules and structure. So if you follow Scrum, it is a very disciplined approach of developing things. We need to conduct various ceremonies in order to remain aligned with the end goal. It is not like, a lot of time I find that people use agile as an excuse of not following technical excellence. Agile nowhere says that you need to forget about technical excellence. Rather it says that technical excellence, the clean code, developing things, a bug-free softwares is an essential element of delivering things. Now, so it is not an undisciplined approach of software development. People think that agile team does not plan. It is not true. We do a planning, but planning is not a phase. We don't have a phase one, doing a planning and then implementing it in a rest of the project duration. Planning is an activity in agile. So planning is evenly spreaded throughout the project life cycle. It is not something which we are doing in the initial stage of the project and not reviewing it and relooking it at a later stage. It remains part of the process. So every iteration we do a planning. We plan that particular iteration, and we also modify our release plan to take care of new learning. So agile teams the complete team spend good amount of time in planning. When they do an iteration planning, the complete team is involved in identifying tasks and scheduling them for their, or identifying them and then self-assigning them during the iteration. They do a daily planning by using the daily Scrum or a daily stand-up meeting. So good amount of planning happens in agile. This is another myth, that agile development cannot be scaled. Nowadays we find good amount of studies where agile is becoming successful even for multi-team, multi-geographical project. So you may find a statement where it says that agile team size should not go beyond 9. Now, yes, it is there, because here we follow a face-to-face communication approach and an informal way of communicating with each other. If we have more than 9 people in a team, then communication can become messy. But in order to scale the work, we add team. So we don't add team members to the agile team or a say Scrum team, but we add more and more teams. So we can scale the agile by adding the team, but the scaling agile does bring good process and tools in implementation. So once you have a complex project or a multiple team, you do need to follow a good amount of processes and electronic tools and tools to facilitate your communication. It's always easy to work in a co-located, work with the co-located teams who are sitting in a one room and delivering software, but it can be done. A lot of time we think that it's an agile, I can change my mind whenever I want. So there was a good statement where it says that agility is the ability to manage or a balance stability and flexibility. So it's an art. So there is no statement that this should be there or that should be there, but agility is all about balancing the stability and flexibility. It's not like that you keep changing, and it is also called a term like agile thrashing, where we keep changing the things and we don't make any progress. So an agile team should keep eye on their end goals and keep the progress transparent to all the stakeholders, so people can know that we are not moving ahead, and the reason is that we are changing the same thing again and again. Yeah, this one is the most common. Even one of our attendees was discussing it, that agile means no documentation. So if we are agile, we are not going to document anything. In agile, it is recommended that we should focus on bare minimal documentation. Now, but what is the definition of bare minimal? The definition of bare minimal depends upon the type of projects you are dealing in, the type of environment you are working in. Now, there are various type of documentation happens in our project life cycle. One documentation is which you give to the end user. For example, user manual, installation manuals. These are something which really add value. So they are value added items. They has to be developed. Then there are a documentation which we do to transfer knowledge. For example, if we are finishing this particular project, we may end up documenting the design decisions, the approaches which we have taken, the best way of doing things, so that any other team can pick it from there. So it's like handing over the project, and that may require a good amount of documentation. The third documentation we can do is which is related to governance, like if we are following a particular framework. For example, the organization is following CMI framework, and it is mandate for the organization, for the team to remain compliant with that particular framework. Or organization is working in a health domain, and they has to produce 10 number of evidence for whatever against what they are doing. So the compliance may bring some amount of documentation to the agile team, and agile team, since they are working in a framework of the organization, the project team will come and go, but organization has to support the business and a product forever. So whatever is needed for the governance need, they need to do it. The fourth category, which is a primary focus area for eliminating or reduction in documentation from agile, is work in progress documentation. So agile says that minimize WIP documentation. So rather than documenting something and telling the next person to read that document and develop it, we should focus on minimizing this work in progress documentation and help the team to interact with each other, use working software as a communication tool, and move forward. So it's not like that if you are in agile, you will never document, but yes, you will document the things which really add value. Now I can take questions. I think I have few, and okay, and then we can have a discussion, anything related to it. In a way, quality is inbuilt through the acceptance criteria and user stories and through iterations. Am I right? Yes, the modern way of handling quality is that quality should be inbuilt in the system. And the agile and even the lean principle talks about that quality should be built in. Now, rather than inspecting, we should design the process in a way that quality is inbuilt in the system. Now, quality get inbuilt by way of we implement quality by following good technical design practices and taking a short feedback cycles. So whenever we are done with the work, we take the feedback. We take the feedback from the customer. We take the feedback from their respective stakeholders, and that helps us in keeping our things under control. So we keep verifying how we are moving. So we take baby steps. So especially when we talk about extreme programming is all about taking small baby steps. So rather than running fast, it says take a baby step, but whatever step you take, make sure that everything is integrated backward. So everything is working fine, but only walk for small baby step. In case you have any other query, please let me know, and we are done with our time box as well. So okay, thank you. And here are my details. So I train people on PMI ACP and PMP related certifications. I train them online. I have an online product, and I also conduct classroom sessions in 3 cities of India, Delhi, Bangalore, and Hyderabad. And we have a classroom session scheduled for Bangalore in next weekend, 21st. And you can also connect with us via various way. We have a very active LinkedIn community dedicated to PMI ACP aspirants. Here I try to post frequent like quizzes related to PMI ACP. So you can join our LinkedIn group. I do have a Facebook page where also we try to generate interaction related to project management. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We try to upload good amount of learning videos related to project management, PMP and PMI ACP at our YouTube channel. And you can connect me via mail, or I am also quite visible on LinkedIn. And thanks for joining in, and stay connected. You can still post any queries using email or our various forums. Thanks for giving your time and attending our session.